Ziglar was a pretty smart man, and he once said that selling is something that we do for our clients, not to our clients. Welcome to the 10-Minute Sales Talk with Terry Cameron, the show that's all about life in the car business. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and give you an update on ways to reach me. I've already told you before, you can find me at 10-Minute Sales Talk at hot.rr.com. That's the number 10-Minute Sales Talk at hot.rr.com. You can also find me on Facebook at the 10-Minute Sales Talk and on my website, 10minutesalestalk.com. Before we go any further, I'd like to ask you guys to hop on over to iTunes and give me those 5 stars. It'd also be nice to read a couple comments, like this one. Josh Brown says, I've been in sales for a long time, and it's easy to forget where it all starts. I'm a huge fan of how Terry is breaking things down from day one and making no assumptions about knowledge. I love it. Thanks a lot, Josh. I appreciate the comment. So today we're going to talk about the value building stage of the sales process. Hopefully we've been practicing our meet and greet, and it's rolling off our tongue like it's second nature. And then we've practiced a little bit on our rapport building and investigating, finding out what the customer wants, what they need, how they're going to use the car. And if we've gotten this far, where they like us and they're answering our questions, then we're well on our way to a sale. The next step is our presentation and demonstration. They're 2 separate steps, I guess, but they work together with each other, so I'm going to talk about both of them at the same time. The first rule in giving a presentation is don't be a walking, talking encyclopedia. Customers make 80% of their buying decisions on 20% of the products. However, you need to know 100% about the product. We only want to talk to them about what's important to them and maybe throw in a few bells and buzzers here and there. I like to use the acronym SPACED, SPACED. Safety, performance, appearance, comfort and convenience, economy, and dependability. They're the reasons people buy cars, with safety and appearance being the number 1 and number 2 reasons. So if we've done our job and we found out what the customer wanted in the vehicle, what they're going to use it for, who's going to be driving it, now it's time to talk to them about the vehicle. Our presentation is not point and talk. Selling is not telling. What most salespeople do is they open the door and they point inside and say, this has power windows, power locks, tilt, cruise. Hop on inside and let's take it for a test ride. That's not a real good way to start your value building stage. If you're selling a $30,000 product, you better be prepared to give a $30,000+ presentation. So what I like to talk about is, instead of doing a product presentation, do a feature, advantage, and benefit presentation. A FAB presentation. Feature is what it is, the advantage is what it does, and the benefit is why it's important to them. Now, our presentation should start in the front of the vehicle. We can talk about a lot of things, and I don't want to go into anything particular, but we want to spend just a couple minutes, 3 or 4 minutes on the front of the vehicle. Actually, a really good presentation should take you no longer than 10 minutes. We're going to talk about anywhere from 3 to 4 different features that are important to the customer on the front. We'll move around to the driver's side. Do not open the door. This just entices the customer to hop in the driver's seat prematurely. Let's talk about 3 or 4 things on the side of the vehicle. The aerodynamics, the safety features are there, the alloy wheels, the Brembo brakes. Whew, that was a tough one. Now again, when we're talking about a feature, advantage, and benefit presentation, we're getting the customer involved. Your conversation should go something like this. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, this vehicle comes equipped with dual steel reinforced beams going down the side of the vehicle to help you protect your precious cargo inside. Now, you mentioned safety was important to you, so this would be a great feature to have, wouldn't it? See what I mean? You're getting the customer involved in the presentation. Move around to the back. Show them how many bodies can fit into the trunk. Spend a couple minutes there. Move around to the passenger side, and now this is where you really have to be careful on what you do. Open the door, the passenger side, ask the customer to hop inside. You're going to show them a few features on the inside. They get in, you slam the door, run around to the other side, and hop in the driver's side. If the car isn't already running, start it up right now. Hopefully the stereo is not blasting and the fan is not on high speed where all the dust is blowing into you and your customer's eyes. Talk to them about a few things, about how comfortable they are in the car. Let them get comfortable. Put on a station that they like. Now this is a kind of neat thing, and you really ought to try it because it works almost all the time. Reach over, put your seatbelt on. Watch what the customer does. Almost every time they put their seatbelt on, and if they've done that, they've just given you permission to take them on a demonstration ride. Now, the last thing that you want to do is ask the customer if they'd like to go for a test drive. That opens up the option of them telling you no. So don't do that. Just assume the test drive. They came here to buy the car. 99% of the customers said they had to drive the car before they bought it. And remember that very important statistic. 50% bought on the spot when they got what they thought was a good presentation and demonstration. Okay, so now we're off and running. You should be driving first. You're heading off the lot. So what I'm going to want you to do is find a safe area to pull over and switch drivers. Now this is also a really good time to do a presentation on the vehicle or finish up one that you didn't finish what's on the lot. There's no distractions there. You've got their undivided attention. Now, when you're riding with the customer, it's very, very important that you listen. Okay? If it's a husband and wife, boyfriend or girlfriend, or just a couple sitting in the front seat, and you're in the back seat, quiet, they're going to tell you what's important to them. If they mention that lumbar support is feeling really, really good, and they talk about how beautiful the color is, and how that DVD system is going to make things a lot more peaceful in our long drive to Colorado with the kids, you need to know that because you're going to use it when we get back to the lot. So, again, we talked about this before in one of the buzzer beaters. You don't necessarily have to go on a pre-planned route. Let the customer drive where they want to. Let them treat it like it's their vehicle. Now, this demonstration drive is the highest emotional point of the sale. This is when the customer or customers take total mental ownership of the vehicle, TMO. This is when they can picture themselves driving on vacation, going to work in the mornings. They feel really good about this. And chances are the car they're demonstrating is better than the one they plan on trading in. They really don't want to get out of that one that you're driving and into the one they showed up on the lot with. So they're taking mental ownership. Their emotions are really, really high, and we need them there because when we get back to the lot, go inside and show them some numbers, the emotion turns to logic really, really quick. So we have to start high. So as they're driving, take note of what they're saying. Now, we're getting close to getting back on the lot, and we just want to go ahead and do what I like to call the final close. So this close is sort of an assumptive close. And this is where we're going to really test the waters. What we're going to say to the customer is, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, you said that lumbar support was going to be great in those long trips to the mountains. And that DVD system is going to keep the kids occupied and make for that ride to be so much more peaceful. And Mrs. Customer, you said the color of this vehicle was beautiful. And I happen to agree with what you guys say. I think you made the right selection. So pull right over here to the sold line, which, by the way, should be close to their trade-in. Make sure you state this. That's where I park all my sold cars. Now, if your customers pull over that sold line, it's a done deal. And we'll talk a little bit later in a few other episodes what happens after the fact. But remember, you have got to do that feature, advantage, and benefit presentation to get your customers involved. We want to talk to them about what's important to them, not what's important to us. We want to let them drive the vehicle like they would drive it on a daily basis. We want their emotions high so they can take that mental ownership of the vehicle before they get back to the lot and we ask them to take financial ownership of the vehicle. Before I go, starting this month, April, I'll be talking to you guys about a book that I've been reading and I get a lot of content from. And I'll provide a link on my website, on Facebook, and somehow I'll get it into this podcast for you guys also to read it. It's very relevant to what we're doing in our career and really easy to read. This month, the book is called How to Be a Great Salesperson by Monday Morning by David R. Cook. I highly recommend it, and maybe if you get something out of it, you might leave me a message. We could have a quick discussion about it. Again, hop on over to iTunes. Give me that 5-star review. Share my podcast. And until next week, remember, the sky's the limit.